is a treadmill, and it's also a 3D printer. And I'm going to use it to print an entire kayak in less than 24 hours. And you may be asking yourself, why? Because sleep is for people with normal hobbies. My friend John and I already used it to print a kayak that we took all the way to Prague Maker Fair. But that print took give or take 7 days. And I think it can be done way faster. And the main thing that can get this to print that fast is this, the improper extruder. While John was carefully nursing the print that we took to Prague, I was working on this test print on my Giant 3D printer where I pushed the limit of the extruder and I managed to get to up to 600 grams an hour. So in theory, as long as the kayak weighs less than 14 kilos, we are golden. But if you go and take a look at John's video, you will see that that print wasn't smooth. So before I start printing, I would like to solve a few issues. Issue number 1. The hot end was meant to be held by these 2 screws in here. But we had to disassemble this so many times that by the end we had to use wood screws, which we ended up screwing all the way to this pulley, which got destroyed, which ended up disintegrating the bearing on the back. Not ideal. So I polished the extruder design and reprinted every single part in ASA, even the multicolor pulleys, and modified every single part to make small improvements like maximizing the amount of belt width that can be used, but more importantly to use heatset inserts so it's easy to get it back together over and over and over and over. These 2 belts hug the filament like a raccoon on Red Bull. If you add to that a 3-to-1 belt reduction and a huge NEMA 23 motor, you end up with quite a powerful extruder. But let's use a force gauge to see the actual force. "90 newtons may not seem like a lot, but what if I tell you that it can do it while pushing filament through the extruder at 60 millimeters per second? And to be able to extrude even faster, I'm swapping the 1mm nozzle for a 1.8mm nozzle. Yep, the nozzle diameter is larger than the filament diameter. And now that the extruder is complete, I think it's a good time to check how fast we can actually extrude. And that's not just short extrusions, it can do it continuously. So much so that I wondered how long it would take to extrude as much filament as there is on a standard printed benchy. This was printed on a Prusa XL with standard settings, and I did the math and extruded the same amount of filament, and it took just a minute. But being able to lay down so much plastic so quickly has its own issues. Issues that regular printers only find when printing really tiny prints. Heat. So much heat. All this hot plastic coming out of the hot end has a lot of thermal mass. And when I designed this extruder, somehow I just thought the prints being this huge that it will take so long to go back to the same spot that this teeny tiny fan was going to be fine. It wasn't fine. We already had these issues with cooling when printing John's kayak, and I'm trying to go way faster this time, so I'm taking no chances. Twice. With these 2 beasts down here, we should have enough cooling power so the previous layer is at least solid when laying down the next one. Of course, this was too easy because I mentioned you that I was trying to maximize the amount of belt that I could use, and now these fans in here hit on the X-axis motor. So I had to modify the motor bracket, and of course I will never let go a good ADHD side quest. So I also reprinted all the parts of the machine in ASA, because at the speeds we're going to be trying, this thing will shake like a washing machine full of brakes. And it was justified, because I found a few tragedies along the way. One last heat-related issue that needs solving is heat creep. During the original print of the kayak, the nozzle kept getting clogged, probably because we were trying to print too hot for PLA just to get more speed. So I thought it would be nice to have the hot end mounted on a metal heatsink just to go crazy on the heat. So I designed a new mount that I would love to get printed in aluminum, and that's where today's video sponsor PCBWay comes in handy. I just uploaded my new design to PCBWay.com, choose the amount I needed, and selected aluminum as my material of choice. I then just checked the part in the online viewer just to see if everything was okay, and just sent the order. The part got here in no time and the quality is amazing. Look at those details. And PCBWay not only does 3D printing, they also do CNC machining, injection molding, and a lot more. As you can see, the process is super easy and the quality is top-notch. So give PCBWay a try following the link in the description, and now let's keep pushing that extruder. And the last thing that we need so the extruder can go as fast as possible is add extra insulation. When printing at max speed, the hot end can barely maintain the temperature, so we need to minimize heat loss outwards, so we can transfer as much heat to the filament as possible. I also had to build this contraption with a row of adjustment screws to flatten the part of the belt where the nozzle lays down the filament, so the nozzle doesn't destroy the belt. And now it's flat. And speaking about destroyed belts, I'm going to need to replace this one. So I'll cut a new one, and now it's just a matter of simply unscrewing half the treadmill, remove the old one, get the new one in, and readjust the belt tracking. And as the new belt is full of grease from the factory, just clean it with soapy water. And to get the belt as sticky as possible, a bit of my mix of alcohol and Vision Miner Nano. And the printer is ready, but there is still one more thing that we can do to increase the speed. We can eliminate anything during the print that is not actually printing. When a printer is printing, there is time invested in trouble movements and retractions because the printer prints a layer, then moves the Z-axis up, and then prints another layer. And if in a layer there are holes, walls, infill, etc., that requires a lot of retraction and empty tool movements. But there is a printing mode that we call vase mode or spiral mode that prints continuously without ever stopping. So I just need to design a kayak that can be printed in vase mode. I'm printing with a 1.8mm nozzle, which makes quite thick walls, but not thick enough. As I think we'll need at least 2 walls all around, I made a cut along the part in contact with the belt, so the slicer is forced to go back and forth all around the kayak, printing 2 walls everywhere. And then added all the features like the seat and the holes for the handles, keeping that cut in the middle, and making sure it kept making 2 walls everywhere. I'll just say that it was quite a challenge. And that way I keep the print in one continuous extrusion, non-stop, not once, to change the filament, but other than that, the few first and last layers of the print need to be done very slowly, because of heat. But look at those fat layers. And as you can see, the extruder doesn't stop. It barely slows down when changing direction because I've set the instantaneous speed changes ridiculously high. As it's being printed in vase mode, the features like the seat aren't connected, but I made sure that the gap between them was small enough so they actually get connected when printing. Hopefully that will add to the overall strength. I started at 9:51 in the morning, and each 2 kilogram spool lasts for about 4.5 hours, which means that if I want to be able to actually print the kayak in less than 24 hours, I will need to lose some sleep. So I made the last spool change at 11:30 at night. So here we are, it's 5 in the morning, and we are ready for what will hopefully be our last spool change. I'm keeping track of the time and watching the print, and also helping a bit with the cooling, because it is insane how much heat accumulates printing at this speed. Of course, all this kayak printing wouldn't be possible without Prusa, proud filament sponsor of this channel, that helped John and I go all the way to Prague Maker Fair with John's kayak and made mine possible. So go and send them some love. And I will be attending OpenSOS again this year from the 18th to the 20th of July in San Francisco with a whole lot of other creators and makers that bring awesome stuff. So go and check it out, and if you see me, please say hi because I will love to meet you there. The machine says it took 20 hours and 51 minutes in practical printing time, but even with everything that went wrong, all the filament changes and me sleeping a bit, it took less than 24 hours. Yeah. Of course, there were a few hiccups here and there. Like here, when there wasn't enough cooling, or when the nozzle got caught and lost a few steps. Luckily, I heard it, paused the print really fast, and rehomed the X and Y axis, and was able to continue printing. And connecting the walls gets harder as the print gets smaller due to heat again. I present you the 24-hour kayak. Doesn't look so bad. There are parts where I definitely didn't provide enough cooling, but it looks amazing on the wide sections where heat wasn't an issue. There are a few imperfections here and there, but nothing that I can fix. So I will get to it because I want to get this thing in the water. A bit of sanding and 3D pen. A bit of flap disc because it's faster. And I almost forgot to remove the start ring, which is absurdly strong. And I left two cavities on the front and the back to fill with foam just in case. If it breaks in half again, both parts will stay afloat. And as I'm absolutely sure it's not watertight, a coat of epoxy all around. And some finishing touches for the straps. A couple of handles / camera mounts, and I think that was the last thing, so let's see if it floats. I had to modify my bike cart to be able to carry something this long, and it seems that worked out just fine. I'm hearing the waves from up here. Getting scared. I definitely was expecting way less waves here at this time in the morning. What do you think? Can we make it? Okay, this looks like a place as bad as the rest. I realized that I haven't tried to see if I fit, and I barely fit. I hope it's easy to get out of here. I don't fit, it's too short. Okay, it's full of water already. Don't let the water in. Too much water inside. Okay, it's kind of floating now. Oh my goodness. No, don't get in, don't let the water in. Don't let the water in. Okay, now it's my water. Oh my god. It broke. It broke. No. Oh, that's a big one. Waves aren't actually that high,
But as I didn't add a cover, it's really easy to get water in, and if I'm not perfectly aligned with the waves, the kayak gets tipped over quite easily. And after a lot of trying and emptying the kayak and trying again, I got an idea.
Try something different. See that platform over there? We are gonna go there.
Waves make it really hard to get in the kayak, so I'm going to go to a platform away from the beach to see if that makes it easier.
Get a YouTube channel, they said. It's going to be easy. Yes. Sitting at the computer all day. And see the water. This puts a lot. Okay. Another foot in. Some water got inside. And I'm in. Some more water got inside. Okay, I hurt my leg. I have a small wound, minor setback, but I think like the sharp edges that the kayak has here now are too dangerous for another attempt. But what do you think? Should I try again? Redesign the kayak, make it more human friendly, and try again? Leave a comment down below and subscribe if you aren't, because if not, you are going to miss whatever this was. Please check John's video, link down below, because it's an awesome adventure. And thanks a lot to all my Patreons and members for allowing this to be my job. Thank you. And now please go and make something! And now, back to shore. Really.